Right.
Enough crap here. Okay, this is all of the people.
That's all this stuff.
Yes. Always.
Bill, how you doing?
Is indeed.
Good to see you again. Good to see you. Up and running. Good. Yeah, no, good to see you.
That was my list.
Hi, how you doing?
God, have we got to? How many trees give up their life?
Everybody ready? Yeah.
Call the meeting to order. Call the roll.
Trustee Fenn? Here. Trustee Dodge? Here. Trustee Guerra?
Here.
Trustee Ruzick?
Here.
Trustee Calandrello? Here. Trustee Carroll? Here. Mayor Pico?
Here.
Please rise for the pledge.
Could everybody please stay standing for a moment of silence for the victim of Hurricane Harvey and potentially Hurricane Irma to come? Thank you. So before we move on tonight, I just have a question for you guys here in the room. How many of you have been through a hurricane? So about 5 of us, 6 of us. This is just to give some of you some idea of what it's like. When I was in the military, I spent about 5 years stationed in North Carolina, 70 miles east of the Atlantic Ocean. And we would evacuate for hurricane threats all the time. Yes, all of us big, strong military officers would leave our families behind to handle the hurricane while we took the $55 million airplanes and well over $1 billion worth of assets and brought them away to safety because we didn't want to lose the taxpayers' investment. And most of the time they didn't hit. In 1996, our base was actually hit with 2 hurricanes 6 weeks apart, a Category 2, Bertha, and a Category 3, Fran. My wife and other military families had to weather these storms out with our children. Ours were aged 1, 3, and 11. And let me tell you that her and all of the military spouses were afraid, and as were all of us who were away that couldn't really connect with our families. However, once the hurricane is over, that's when the difficulties really begin. We brought the airplanes back immediately and came back to homes with trees through roofs, water, and other damage. And even those of us that only had minor damage, siding, and maybe some damaged carpets, we lost electricity for 5 days or longer. And when it's 95 degrees and there's standing water on the ground, it's about 100% humidity, no fans, no AC, no refrigerator, no food, and you have young kids, it's very challenging. We were blessed because we actually had running water, which at Hurricane Harvey they do not. They haven't been that lucky. They've lost their homes, they've received over 50 inches of rain, they've lost electricity, heat, humidity, the lack of safe drinking water in several places. Knowing all this, I want to thank all of the Orland Park residents and businesses that have given in this time of crisis and to encourage you to keep giving. We are taking donations here at the Village Hall, at the Sportsplex, and at the Orland Park Health and Fitness Center. Every time there's a disaster, Americans step up and they help their fellow citizens. Times like this remind me of how proud I am to be an American and how honored I am to lead an engaged and giving community like Orland Park. President.
Approval August 21st, 2017 regular meeting minutes.
Are there any changes to the minutes?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Fenton.
move to approve the minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting of August 21st, 2017.
Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrella.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll. Aye. Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Orland Park Lions Club raffle license.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Carroll.
I move to approve issuing a raffle license to the Orland Park Lions Club to conduct a raffle at their Candlelight Bowl at Orland Bowl on Saturday, November 11th, 2017.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrella.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Moraine Valley Community College 50th Anniversary Proclamation.
Legislation.
Do you need a motion? You don't read this.
I got it. Whereas founded by voters referendum in 1967, Moraine Valley College District 524 is one of the largest public community college districts in Illinois, covering 139 square miles and annually serving more than 34,000 credit and non-credit students, hailing from 26 demographically diverse communities in the southwest suburbs of Chicago. And whereas Moraine Valley Community College is one of more than 48 community colleges in the state of Illinois, operating under the direction of the Illinois Community College Board with accreditation from the Higher Learning Commission. And whereas over the last 5 decades, Moraine Valley Community College has been committed to student access by education, the whole person in a learning center environment, recognizing our responsibilities to one another, to our community, and to the world we share. And whereas Moraine Valley has conferred more than 63,000 degrees and certificates since its opening, serves 1 in every 37 residents of its district, including thousands of Orland Park residents, and whereas 2017 marks the 50th anniversary of this important academic institution, and with events and celebrations throughout 2017. Now therefore I, Keith Pecaw, President of the Village of Orland Park in the counties of Cook and Will, State of Illinois, for and on behalf of all citizens, that we congratulate Moraine Valley Community College on its 50th anniversary, and encourage all members of the public to join the college's celebrations. Be it further resolved that this resolution be made of record and permanent proceedings of the Village of Orland Park Board of Trustees, and a suitable copy hereof be presented to Moraine Valley Community College.
Representatives here.
Is there a representative from Moraine Valley?
Thank you. Thank you. Jody. Sure.
No, I don't need a microphone.
You got to introduce yourself.
My name is Jody Farniers. I work with, I work with Village of Orland Park. I work at Moraine Valley. I have for the past 11.5 years. This year is a big year for us, and we have served these communities with a lot of pride over the last 5 decades. So we're really excited. We also have a big event coming up Saturday, September 16th. It's free. Everybody's invited. Live bands, food vendors, a lot of fun. But Orland Park has been a great partner to Moraine, and we're happy that we can pass this resolution.
Thank you very much.
Honoring the Carl Sandburg Chess Club champs on their 2016-17 season.
Do we have the paperwork on that? Do we have names? So I'd like to call up the chess team. Come on up. Don't be shy.
The trophies are heavy.
So on behalf of myself and the village board.
That's some heavy lifting.
Congratulations on your accomplishments in the 2017 Supernational Tournament, which took place in April, so it was last season. But now they're back in school, so they can accept our awards. So the results, and I'll just call you up one at a time. So the national championships, the unrated division. So James Bundy. Mom would like to see your face.
Check.
Connor Murphy. Haley Risser. Chad Fortin. Mary Piper. Ben Sales. Leah Barba. Renal Gonzaga. Joseph Bartle. And 24th in the nation as a team, individual K-12 under 1200, Chase Fortin. Who's better, you or your brothers? Definitely me. 71st in the nation, Anton Sebastian. Last but not least, Noah Novi. I want to thank all of you for coming tonight. Also, congratulations on doing so well in the chess championship. I certainly couldn't have done chess. How about any of you? You a chess club guy?
Poorly.
Do the trustees have anything to add?
Can I see the trophy?
Don't do that.
Oh, this is the school one? Wow. It's bigger than my kid.
Well, hey, Keith. Ask them how they got interested in chess.
How did you guys get interested in chess at such a young age? Not a trick question.
You could say great parenting.
My dad taught me first grade, so and I just felt it was interesting. I mean, didn't start playing competitively for until around freshman year, but I really got into it after that, and I just felt like it was just an interesting game, and it wasn't really about luck like many other board games. It was more about the real skill, and it was all about you. It wasn't about any other board game. I thought that was really interesting.
I know I played chess and that otherwise, and my dad would play some those people really got me into chess. Saturday chess club, so it's like, I think it was a freshman when he won last year.
I just wanted to learn enough to eat them.
So what it's all about was parent involvement. The parents all getting you involved in chess?
Wow.
And grandparents. Well, that's great.
What really motivated us to play more was our coach. He is just amazing.
Where's the coach? Where's the coach? Coach.
Well, the only word I can add to this is that this group, most of the group will be graduating this year, so this will be emotional for me. They've been together for 4 years, and the focus of chess is not necessarily to beat your opponent per se, but to look at it as steps in life. Every move is a step you make, and if you make a mistake, you have to learn how to compensate. So this group, I will, as I'm tearing up now, I will be missing this group. And I like to thank them for their participation. I like to thank the Village for recognizing chess, the chess team. This is the first time this has ever happened. And,
Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations.
I think your brother got a bigger trophy than, didn't he? Or no? Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations. 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 What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, Jim.
I was gonna put it, well, I'm not one to just table it. I would if somebody makes a motion to table it, that takes precedent.
Village manager employment agreement and appointment.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Dodge.
move to pass resolution number 1723 entitled Resolution Approving an Employment Agreement for and Ratifying the Appointment of Joseph Lamargo, I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, as village manager in the Village of Orland Park, Illinois.
Second.
Second. Are there any comments or questions? Call a roll.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Trustee Fenn.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Nay. The motion carries 6-1. Congratulations, Joe. And take it from me, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
I don't think he gets sworn in, does he?
Okay.
Joe, would you like to make a few comments?
I just want to, that I'm grateful that the trustees for their unanimous support, the trust and confidence that you've extended me. I am looking forward to working with the mayor, the trustees, and the village staff to continue to build on Orland Park and make it the great community that it is.
Thanks, Joe.
Congratulations, Joe.
Okay.
You want to do these, you want to do both at the same time? We can do two motions. Go ahead, do it. Yeah.
You want to do all of those at the same time?
We can do that once.
That's fine. Just make sure you raise your right hand at some time.
Exactly, right.
So now I'm going to give Joe the oath. Solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of village manager
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of village manager
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. What's that? Yep.
Economic Development Advisory Board appointment.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Dodge.
move to confirm the appointment of Michael Milani for the Economic Development Advisory Board.
Second.
Any comments? Call a roll.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Fenn.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll. Mayor Pico.
Aye. Might as well do the next one, too, both Economic Development Advisory Board.
Economic Development Advisory Board appointment.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Dodge.
Move to confirm the appointment and swearing in of Dan McMillan to the Economic Development Advisory Board.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Call the roll.
Trustee Dodge?
Aye.
Trustee Guerra?
Aye.
Trustee Fenton?
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick?
Aye.
Trustee Calandrella?
Aye.
Trustee Carroll?
Aye.
Mayor Peacock?
Aye. And now I will swear in the two members of the Economic Development Advisory Board. First, Michael.
Having been appointed to the office of the Economic Development Advisory Board in the Village of Orland Park in the counties of Cook and Will aforesaid. Solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Economic Development Advisory Board to the best of my ability.
Good again. Plan Commission appointments?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Ruzick.
I would move to move this item to our next meeting, regularly scheduled meeting. And just by way of why I'm asking for this, this is a situation we've not been in for some time, at least when I've been on the board, where we are asking for individuals to be replaced who haven't resigned. And I just want to look into the legality of that. I'm not sure if our attorney has issued an opinion on that, but I would like to see that opinion before I vote on this. Well, it's a motion to table it until the next meeting. To continue it till the next. Continue it till the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
If it's a motion to table, it's a priority motion.
Okay.
That's what I'm asking.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Call the roll.
Aye. Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
Trustee Dodge.
so is priority motion, do we have to call it, or is there any discussion on this, Ken?
It's a priority motion, so yes, you can discuss it, but it's a motion
Okay.
to table it until the next meeting.
But we can discuss it.
But you can discuss it once it's been seconded.
Who's second?
Okay, so it's motion and second. I guess I
So
had
the
a-
question has been put, so Trustee Dodge.
Right, so I guess my questions are, and Ken, we can bring this back formally at the next meeting, or maybe you know currently. So my understanding is that the ability to appoint is in the office of the president of the Village of Orland Park because of state statute, is that correct? To appoint members to these various boards and commissions?
That is correct. It's the village president who makes the appointments, and it's up to the village board then to advise and consent.
Okay, and how long do these terms run?
For the term is 1 year for plan commission.
Okay, I guess, Ken, where I'm going is, in my mind, there's a couple of commissions, and tell me if I've got this right. The Plan Commission's required by law, state law, correct?
It's not required, but it is by statute, it provides that the village board may create a plan commission, which obviously it has done years ago.
Okay. Police Review Board, that's also required by state law?
Yes,
Civic Center, because it's a Metropolitan Exposition Center, is also required by state law?
correct,
And then 911, correct?
correct.
So all the other boards that we have, economic development, recreation, all those things were creations of this board, correct? By our ordinance?
I believe that's correct. I don't have a list of all of them in front of me, but I believe that's correct.
Okay. I guess just, I'm going to put it out there, the way I'm approaching this, the way I'm thinking about this is, I'm hearing, Ken, what you're saying is that the ability to appoint and advice and consent is to the office of the village president, the mayor, and then the board to approve, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And then, as I'm thinking about this broadly for everybody here, is you got some boards that I think are of a different significance in terms of the requirements that we have for them, plan, police, civic center, and 911. The other ones, we could do this. I don't really have a problem with some of the folks that are nominated tonight. I'm a little uncomfortable with what it means, but this is kind of how it goes when elections have consequences. And there were some other folks that are recommended tonight that I wanted to get to know better if I'm going to advise or consent. So that's just wanted to have some clarity, Ken, on how long these terms were and who could or could not renew or appoint somebody.
And Ken, just to clarify, these terms are expired, and they are serving on basically expired terms at this point.
That's correct. Yes, they continue in office until their successors are appointed and qualified.
And the role to appoint,
The village president makes the appointment, and it's up to the Board of Trustees to confirm.
are there any other comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Carroll.
The only comment I have is looking at some of the commissions, the planning commission certainly is your prerogative as president to appoint with our advice and consent, but there are other commissions, I just point out that looking over them over the weekend, they jointly call for the president and Board of Trustees to appoint. Not the planning commission, but there are other commissions that do say that.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Ruzick.
So for those reasons that have been pointed out would be why I would ask that we get some kind of a formal memo from you, Ken, if possible, just on clarifying where, individuals don't resign and they're serving on an expired.
You're asking if it is appropriate, or?
No, if we could get a memo from you, which would just set forth some
Absolutely.
of this, that's all.
Any other comments?
Just one comment. I'm kind of, mixed feelings on this emotion. I was going to ask for a delay on one of the candidates here because I wanted to get to understand that person better before we put them on such an important part of our approval process with economic development. So I've got mixed feelings about the delay. I think we're going to have to get around to settling this issue pretty quickly. Mayor Peacock, you have the right, if I understand it right, under state law to appoint or not renew, so to speak, someone. And on the other hand, there's obviously some concerns here. So we're going to come back to this in 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Ruzick.
Yeah, and I would just say, I don't have a problem with, if the vote tonight was, should these people be removed, my vote would be no. But that's not the way it sounds like our code is set up. And if that's what the legal opinion is coming from the lawyer, then that's what I think we're going to be obligated to follow, or at least, so I don't have any issues with the people that have been nominated, but I'd like to hear further from the lawyer before I vote.
And Attorney Fricker, it's my understanding they're not being removed, they're being replaced, correct?
That's correct. There are no vacancies per se because they continue in office until their successors are appointed. Even though their terms have expired, under the municipal code, they continue in office until their successors are appointed and qualified, which means approved, confirmed by the Board of Trustees.
Any other comments? Call the roll.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Trustee Fenn.
Aye.
Trustee Datch.
No, and I'd like to explain when we're done with the vote.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Calendro.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Nay.
Mayor Peacock, just for the
Trustee
record,
Dodge.
I was comfortable with us getting into the debate tonight to try and get this settled, because we're going to have to tackle it now in 2 weeks. So that's the only reason I'm voting against the motion to delay this, is like, let's just get on with the more important business of Orland Park here.
Civic Center appointments.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Carroll.
I would likewise move to table this until the next board meeting for further legal analysis from Kleinthorpe and Jenkins and further discussion to the board.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any comments? So I have one comment here. There is, one of these people have resigned, and she resigned earlier this week. So there is a vacancy currently on this board that we are leaving for 2 weeks from now.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Carroll.
I'd be happy to amend my motion to, let me see which one's which. I would amend my motion to table until the next meeting the appointment of the replacement of Trustee Guerra from the Civic Center Commission, and I would separate that from the issue of the appointment of Kevin Scanlon.
So I think the appropriate, the appropriate response now is to divide the question.
Yes.
So first, we have to vote on tabling this motion, which if we table it, we won't be able to do anything with it, correct?
That's correct.
I was willing to amend my motion to table only the second half of it, so I suppose.
So we have to vote on the, so we have to vote on the tabling, and if we want to revisit this again and divide the question and then table it, we have to vote no on the tabling, and then we divide the question.
Well, I would be willing to withdraw my motion to table it this time in exchange for a motion to divide the appointments.
So there's a motion to withdraw the motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to divide the two appointments.
Second.
So the motion to divide the two appointments has been moved and seconded. The first, so the first motion would need to be made for Mr. Scanlon.
Mr. Chairman,
Pat second.
Thank you.
Trustee Ruzick.
I move to appoint Kevin Scanlon, or I move to advise and consent to the appointment and swearing in by President Peacock of Kevin Scanlon to the Orland Park Metropolitan Exposition Auditorium and Office Building Authority.
Second. Are there any questions or comments? Call the roll.
Catching up here. Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrella.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor Peacock.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Carroll.
I would move to table the remaining Civic Center appointment to the next board meeting.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded to table the advice and consent of Ed Gearon, or Ed Jerome, I'm sorry. Are there any questions or comments? Call the roll.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrella. Aye. Mayor Peacock.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Sorry. Zoning Appeals Hearing Officer.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Fenton.
move to consent to the appointment and swearing in by President Peacock of Bill Healy to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Second.
The motion is moved and seconded. Any comments? Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor Peacock.
Aye. And we should swear in the Civic Center and the Zoning Board of Appeals. So first we the Civic Center. Kevin? Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Kevin Scanlon,
Have been appointed to the office of
have been appointed to the office of
Metropolitan Exposition Auditorium
Metropolitan Exhibition Auditorium
and Office Building Authority,
and Office Building Authority,
Civic Center,
Civic Center,
in the Village of Orland Park,
Village of Orland Park,
in the counties of Cook and Will, aforesaid.
counties of Cook and Will, aforesaid,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
of Metropolitan Exposition Auditorium
Metropolitan Exhibition Auditorium
and Office Building Authority,
and Office Building Authority,
Civic Center,
Civic Center,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Madam Council. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Bill Healy,
Having been appointed to the office of the Zoning Board of Appeals
having been appointed to the office of the zoning board of appeals,
in the Village of Orland Park,
Village of Orland Park,
in the counties of Cook and Will, aforesaid,
counties of Cook and Will, aforesaid,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
of Zoning Board of Appeals
of zoning board of appeals
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Recreation Board.
Recreation Advisory Board appointment.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Dodge.
move to consent to the appointment swearing in by President Peacock, Felicitas Cortez to the Recreation Advisory Board.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? Call the roll.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Mayor Peacock.
Aye.
Recreation Advisory Board appointment.
Chairman,
Trustee Guerra.
I move to consent to the appointment and swearing in by President Peacock Scott Trokey to the Recreation Advisory Board.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? Call the roll.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll. Mayor Peacock.
Aye. And now I get to swear these guys. Having been appointed to the office of the Recreation Advisory Board in the Village of Orland Park in the counties of Cook and Will, aforesaid, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, right hand. I state your name. I, Scott Trophy. Having been appointed to the office of the Recreation Advisory Board. The office of the Recreation Advisory Board. In the Village of Orland Park. In the Village of Orland Park. In the counties of Cook and Will, aforesaid. In the counties of Cook and Will, aforesaid. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. I will support the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the State of Illinois. The Constitution of the State of Illinois. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties. Of the office of Recreation Advisory Board. The office of Recreation Advisory Board. To the best of my ability. To the best of my ability.
And I'm cold. I have a cold today. All right. Spelling bee time.
39th Annual Orland Open Spelling Bee.
Mr. Smith?
Well, I'm here this year. I missed last year. Was a broken hip last year.
Yep.
2 years ago, it was a stent operation. 3 years ago, a stroke. But I'm here the 39th. And I'd like to commend the village for continuing to co-sponsor with the Presbyterian Church a very unique event. Hardly any schools have spelling bees anymore. And we hold an open spelling bee, open to anyone over 8 years old from anywhere. In the last 3 years, the trophy winners have come from 22 different towns. 22 different towns. The Orland Park gets most of the trophies and most of the ribbons, but the winners come from all over the place. And my pitch today is a different one. It's not about the contest, really. It's about getting spellers. All my posters and publicity, the focus is on wanted spellers. And this is also to everybody in the audience. This is open to anyone of any age over 8. 13-year-old has won it, a 16-year-old has won it, 2 college students have won it. 34 have been won by adults. The queen of the bees, Kathleen Foley, won it 8 times. The 8th time was 78 years old. And it's really open to anyone from anywhere. There's flyers that will be on the chairs out in the foyer, whatever you call it. But you can register individually, email. 80% of them registered that way last year. We used to get 100 spellers, over 100. Once 153. And we're down to about 60 or 70 recently. So we want to get those numbers up, 90 or 100. So please, consider, think about it. You've got an Aunt Nellie or a kid who's a good speller. No charge. The mayor gives a welcome. The trustees, every trustee behind me has served many times as a judge. They've served as the judges.
We failed.
Presbyterian Church provides the building and the callers and all of that stuff. Every 5th year, that means the 40th, which is next year, we will have the contest in the Civic Center, as we always have. 20th, 25th, 30th, 35th has always been held there. So please help get spellers to spell. And it's October 15th, Sunday, October 15th, 3 o'clock at the 2 o'clock at the Presbyterian Church, 134th and Wolf Road. And again, I want to thank the village for continuing to co-sponsor this. And incidentally, Joe and I have something in common.
He's my superintendent.
I was his elementary school superintendent.
And you
So any
graduated them.
complaints, you know where to.
I'll take the credit or the blame.
I think Jim Dodge is going to be our representative in the spelling bee this year.
No, maybe I'll judge, maybe. That's the easier part, I can't spell.
Anybody else? Please.
We'll get you a couple again.
You can put me down.
Let Joe know.
Okay, I'll let Joe know. You got me, Joe. I didn't do it last year, I'll do it.
He's gonna be judged.
Ready?
Yep.
Consent agenda?
The consent agenda, Alpha payroll, or August 25th, 2017 payroll approval, Bravo accounts payable for August 22nd, 2017 to September 5th, 2017 approval, Charlie replacement police canine in fiscal year 2018 utilizing funds from the state asset forfeiture account purchase, Delta police database search tool vendors, Accurate to Clear vendor change, Echo Sportsplex equipment purchase approval of 2-octane ZR 8000 Zero Runner with Smart Console cardiovascular exercise machines with integrated PBS TV kits. That's a mouthful. Foxtrot 2018 Winter Spring Recreation Program offering list subject to change based on the final 2018 budget approval and contractual payments over $5,000 approval. Golf retaining wall repair at 144th Street and First Avenue. Hotel, 159th and LaGrange Road, various invoices, approval. India, Stellwagen Farm, Family Farm Master Plan. Joliet, RISA Porsche Sales Tax Sharing Agreement. Kilo, 7420 West 159th Street Planned Unit Development Ordinance. Lima, Lot 2 of the 7420 West 159th Street PUD Ordinance. Mike, 7402 West 159th Street, Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers Ordinance, November, 151st Street at West Avenue Roundabout Design, Phase 2 Engineering Services Resolution. Oscar, Anna B's Antiques and Things, AIG, 14330 Beacon Avenue. Papa, Village Code Amendment relating to business license, registration, and fees ordinance. Quebec, Village Code Amendment, Special Events Permits Ordinance. Romeo, Dicus Lot Consolidation Plat of Subdivision. Sierra, Environmental Consulting Services, E. Cooney Associates Incorporated. Tango, Wooded Path 2, Estate Subdivision, proposals for professional tree planting and conservation area landscaping services. Uniform, Hampton Court, final landscape plan approval. Victor, RISA Porsche of Orland Park, final landscape plan approval. Whiskey, 2017 Land Development Code Amendments 2.
I have to say congratulations on getting the military phonetic alphabet exactly right. I was waiting for you to miss one, or it was an Air Force translation, but you did okay, Keith.
You want the last three, too?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Ruzick.
move to approve items A or alpha through W, what's the W one?
Whiskey.
Whiskey, okay, of the consent agenda.
Is there anyone that would like to take anything off of consent? You guys are going to love me. I have a few things to take off consent. India, Juliet, November, Papa, and Quebec. And I just think all of these things deserve a little bit more discussion, and there's a few questions I'd like to ask.
Can you repeat that, Mr. Mayor?
So I, J, N, P, and Q.
So using the police phonetic could be Ida, John, Nora, and Paul.
And Q, Quebec.
Queen, sorry.
The quick question, Mayor Pico.
Trustee Dodge.
Do we want to pull these for separate consideration, or is it just discussion on the items? Because Ken, we could do either, correct?
It's for discussion. If they're pulled for discussion, we vote again separately.
All right, got it. So pull them?
So yeah, they're pulled for discussion. Do I hear a motion?
Did you say, not K, all right?
I, J, N, P, and Q. A motion for Alpha through Whiskey without, except India, Juliet, November, Papa, and Quebec.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye. All right, that was easy. So, item,
Stellwagen Farm Master Plan.
do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
move to approve the Stellwagen Family Farm Master Plan prepared by the Stellwagen Family Farm Foundation and the Village of Orland Park Development Service Department.
Second.
So my comments on this, Joe, I have a couple of questions. So, and you can answer them all at the same time, that's fine. So what does the plan look like for the people in the audience? And we have a small piece of paper that kind of shows it a little bit that I couldn't download off of Legistar earlier today, but you did get me a copy, thank you. And then how will it be funded? And then how is the maintenance funded as well? Who takes care of that?
Sure. I'm gonna, as far as the master plan itself, I'm gonna defer that over to Director Freiling.
Okay.
Regarding the master plan. But as far as the maintenance is concerned, the village owns the property, so that's part of the budget supplement, that subsidy that's approved during the budget season for the operations and maintenance of the facility. But the farm also has the ability to raise dollars and get grants, one of the reasons for the master plan. But as far as the master plan, I'm gonna send it over to Director Freiling, because she worked on that directly.
Yes, Carrie.
I don't know why the fax never worked for me. I thought maybe it might be helpful because we do have residents here to give a little bit of background information on the Stellwagen. Just so it kind of plays into how we got to where we are today with asking for adoption of the master plan. The Stellwagen farm was purchased back in 2002 by the village. It was a joint purchase between the Open Lands Referendum bond money as well as an IDNR grant from the state of Illinois. Since that time, at the same time that the farm was purchased, and the purpose of the purchase was to preserve the farm and to eventually be able to use it as an educational, recreational opportunity for the residents of Orland Park long term. There were terms in the agreement with the Stellwagen family that were very specific on what could and could not be done with the farm, as well as a life trust that went with the land until such time Mr. Stellwagen passed away. The Stellwagen Foundation oversees this piece of property, even though the title is held by the Village of Orland Park. The Stellwagen Foundation is a 503c not-for-profit organization that is made up of family members of the Stellwagen family, as well as interested residents and Kathy Fenton, who is also one of our trustees. The purpose of the 503c, when it was created, was to allow for the opportunity to secure grants and outside funding for the continued preservation and restoration of the Stellwagen farm over the life of really the village forever. And what we have been doing for the last 15 years with the Stellwagen farm, when I say we, the community, has been to restore it. The majority of the restoration, and Ms. Fenton can step in here anytime, she's lived this longer than I have lived it, has been completed by funds provided by the Stellwagen family itself that were donated to continue to make improvements to the farm. In 2015, a market feasibility and analysis plan was done by an outside consultant to use, and we utilize that with the Stellwagen Foundation. The Development Services Department provides staff support to the Stellwagen Foundation. That feasibility study, which was conducted by, hold on a second, I have that here, by Ratio Architects, set the standard and kind of set the framework for this master plan that you have before you tonight. And that master plan was conducted and completed by the Stellwagen Foundation with assistance from the Development Services staff. The reason why the master plan is important for adoption by the village board is, one, it's owned by the Village of Orland Park. You guys collectively hold title to it. But secondly, without a master plan in place, it's extremely difficult to go out and apply for grants from federal, state, or other not-for-profit agencies, or to raise money. The land is currently being farmed by the Stellwagen family, and we receive proceeds through a lease agreement for that, and those funds go back into the Stellwagen Foundation as well. Last year, the village board approved, finally, even though the path had been planned since 2008, the construction of the pedestrian path that is actually completed. The path itself has been installed, is open, received very positive feedback on that, and there's just a few things that we're still wrapping up for the path. That path was funded by the referendum bond proceeds that were authorized via voter referendum many years ago. The ongoing operations and maintenance of the farm, as it relates specifically to electricity, gas, security, which are about $15,000 a year, are actually provided via the Village of Orland Park every year through the operating budget and capital budget discussions. That's for the ongoing maintenance of the farm itself. But for any improvements of the farm, such as when the barn was restored, that was a grant provided by the family. And we continue to go out and look for additional grants, provide additional restoration of the farm itself. Going back to when the farm was originally purchased in 2002, again, reminding that there was terms and conditions from the family on what the farm could be used for, educational, recreational opportunities. It's very important that we continue to take a look at those opportunities as we continue to plan for future years of the Stellwagen. That will continue to be overseen by the foundation, but this master plan, once adopted, will allow the foundation to go out and raise additional funds through their foundation. So hopefully that answers all the questions and gives a brief overview of the Stellwagen farm as it sits today. The master plan is one component. As I said previously, there was a market feasibility study that was done in 2015. But moving forward, we're going to be looking at such things as recreational opportunities. There's a need for additional parking at the farm. Those things will go through the proper approvals like any other project has to go through. The foundation, because again, just because it's a separate foundation, they still have to follow the rules and regulations of the Village of Orland Park. So for example, when we move forward with the bike path, that all went through approvals to the village board ultimately. The same thing will entail for future projects. They will have to come through for separate approvals as well. But this sets the framework that allows the foundation to go out and secure outside financing and funding. Without that, it's going to be extremely difficult for us to continue to do that. And I believe that, I don't want to speak for the foundation, but I don't know if there's any members here tonight.
There are.
Oh, there are. Oh, there are. Bob Sullivan's here. He knows this project better than I do. Their goal is not to rely on the Village of Orland Park or the taxpayers or the residents of Orland Park for the sustainability and the continued operations of this farm, but to actually be able to continue to secure outside financing and funding and grants for the foundation. And anything that would happen within this piece of property would go back into that foundation as it does today to provide for additional restoration opportunities way in the future for all of our residents and the next generations as well.
So thank you very much for all that background. Joe, you had answered the funding questions, and Carrie, the one question I was asking was, what does the plan look like? Do we have that here? So that the people can see what the plan looks like? I mean, I have it, but that would be pretty hard for people to see.
Well, we actually do have the plan, and it was when we were at committee 2 weeks ago, at the Development Services Committee, where this was reviewed in detail, we actually did a full PowerPoint presentation at that time at committee level and walked the 3 committee members through it. Additionally, the plan is available online on our website, and if anyone wants actual hard copies of the plan, they can get that as well.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge. Trustee Guerra. Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll. Mayor Peacock.
Aye.
Rizapor sales tax sharing agreement.
Trustee Dodge.
To approve sales tax sharing agreement with Riza Porsche as outlined above.
Second.
Any questions or comments? So the question that I have regarding this is, it's a pretty big agreement. I know we do these agreements all the time, but it's there is actually a letter here dated July 26th. It's the first I'm seeing of it, and so I just had questions about what that sharing agreement is, so that we all know what all the details are behind it.
Mr. Mayor and Board of Trustees, this is a typical sales tax sharing agreement that we do for our car dealers located on 159th Street. Again, just a brief background information on this. This is, you have already approved the special use for the new Porsche dealership. Currently, Riza Ford and Riza Porsche are one entity, and they are combined together. This particular project, which has been approved by the Village Board through all the zoning entitlements, is separating that out. They're actually building a freestanding Porsche dealership on a vacant piece of property immediately adjacent to the hotel that sits there. Typically, the way these agreements are, and this mirrors previous agreements that we've done in the past, it is very typical for the Village of Orland Park to enter into a sales tax sharing agreement for our car dealers, and there's a couple of reasons for that. The first one is, as many of the board knows, as does the mayor, they're the largest generator of sales tax really that we have in the Village of Orland Park, in that category industry by itself. We also want to make sure that we keep our car dealers. We have 12 active, very successful car dealers in the Village of Orland Park, and we want to make sure that they stay here. So when they come to us and they talk to the village about expanding, whether that's an expansion in the current facility, or in many cases, such as this one, it's a brand-new dealership, then we work with them to come up with a sales tax sharing agreement to retain that business in the village so they don't move across the street to Tinley, down the street to Joliet, or across I-80 to Frankfurt. So that's what we're doing tonight, is we're recommending approval of a sales tax sharing agreement that is consistent with all previous agreements. And basically what it entails is we're already currently collecting sales tax from the Porsche dealership as it sits today. We're not sharing any of the current sales tax that we currently receive from them. We will continue to receive it. The only thing that we share back to them is any increment over and above that. So we set the base. In this particular case, for Porsche, it's set at a 3-year average of what their last 3 sales tax that we've received from them. That's verified, that's documented. What we do then is, as they get the project finished and they open the new dealership and they result in any additional increase over the base of that sales tax, we share that back 50-50 with them, 50%. For new dealerships that are building a brand new building, we have offered a 10-year term for that. That is consistent with BMW when they build a brand new building, and that is consistent with Affinity that's currently under construction across the street from this dealership. For expansions, where they're not building a new building, we do a 5-year deal term. And we say we will share back 50% of that sales tax increment with you up to a certain dollar amount. It would be extremely unlikely. I would probably win the lotto before this would happen. They will get all their $9 million of investment that they're making back. Because it's simply, they would have to be probably, and I'm sure Mr. McMillan is here and he'd accept this challenge, is the most successful dealership in the entire world to get all their $9 million back. So they're required to provide job information. They're required to provide us real documents at the end of the construction of the life. We verify all those and make sure that the investment was made. And then if they, for some reason, close or relocate out of the village within 10 years, then we get all the money back that we have given them. We claw that all back. So we have a clawback provision as well. So that kind of summarizes where we're at with this particular dealership. And this is consistent with what has been previously approved by the Village of Orland Park.
Any other comments or questions? How was finance involved in this, just out of curiosity?
Once the rebate agreement is approved by the board, we manage the actual payments of the rebates to the car dealerships. So we get sales tax information on a quarterly basis from the state of Illinois, and then we pay according to the terms of the rebate agreement.
How about before this agreement was reached? Were you involved in any way?
Nope. We just manage the payment process. We'll provide the sales tax information that is utilized, like Carrie said, to determine what the base is. But that's pretty much our involvement.
Okay. Anything else?
You know, just, I move, so I have no problem supporting the deal, just, we've done these before, so it's probably worthwhile the discussion, everybody in the audience to understand how we've done these. So this is consistent with what we've done before in terms of the terms.
So I understand this is consistent with what we've done in the past, and I don't have any issues with the deal. I guess one of the issues I have, especially given the environment that we're moving into, which we're all familiar with, that I would, certainly I would like to be aware before it goes to committee. And, you know, when we get the letter, it would be nice to know. It would also be nice to include finance, because although this is a customary deal that we've done in the past, it may be in the future that the deals will be different. And without reviewing them, we won't know.
Yeah, we don't do this in a vacuum, just to clarify this. Ann and I work very closely. I work with the dealership because they're used to working with development services through the whole approval process with zoning and entitlement. So we have a relationship built with them, and we know what the plans are and what the architectural plans and what the cost of the project is going to be. That's what we specialize in. When we get a request for financing, any incentive, we automatically give that information to Ann and her staff, so she's well aware of it. She saw the terms, and she knew it was consistent with the terms that we previously did.
Yeah, the terms, like you said, they're consistent over time. We've been doing this for many, many years, and the terms really have not changed. What may change is the base, because it's dependent upon the individual dealership. And we utilize that, we get that base information from the state of Illinois.
Okay. Any other questions? The question is put as read. Call the roll.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
151st Street at West Avenue roundabout design.
Resolution number, please.
(1724).
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Fenton.
move to pass resolution number 1724 entitled Resolution Approving Proposal from Christopher B. Burke Engineering for 151st Street and West Avenue Roundabout.
Second.
The question has been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Besides mine. So the question that I have here is, obviously, this is a big deal, 151st Street and West Avenue. As far as doing a roundabout, it's also pretty costly to do our engineering services as well. So Joe, could you comment a little bit about where the funds are coming from, but also I think we talked a little bit about what the game plan is to involve the residents, because this is such an important issue for them that live in that area.
Yeah, so the funds are coming from an 80-20 split, 80% through federal funding and grants, and then 20% funded through the village. As far as this project is concerned, this has been going on for the last several years, and we've had several committee meetings on this item. I know that Director Freiling and her staff have met with a number of the residents, and I could ask her to speak a little bit more on the details of that. But yes, and talk to you today, we are looking at doing more neighborhood meetings for moving forward with certain projects that directly affect a certain section of the community, such like when we do our stormwater management and or parks in a particular area.
And that is something you're planning on doing with this project?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Village Code Amendment relating to business license registration.
Ordinance number, please.
5215.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Fenton.
move to pass ordinance number 5215 entitled An Ordinance Amending Title 5, Chapter 1, and Title 7, Chapters 1 and 2 of the Orland Park Village Code relating to business license registration and fees.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any questions? So, Joe, I have two questions on this, and it's the same questions I have for the next one as well. How do these compare to the surrounding areas, because we are raising our fees? And how did we come up with the numbers?
Yeah, I can defer to Director Freiling again with the specifics of that, but basically with this item, we did look at other similar communities and saw their fees. I don't know when the last time we've actually raised the fees, if ever.
Actually, this particular agenda item isn't really so much about raising fees as doing things a little bit differently when we assess fees. So this one is about what happens when a business opens and doesn't get its proper business license or certificate of occupancies, or they lag and they don't renew their business licenses annually. So what we're recommending here, and actually we are mimicking what other communities do, such as Oak Lawn, Palatine, Des Plaines, Schaumburg, and Plainfield, is currently, for example, when a business, let's say, doesn't renew their business license for the coming year, and we get into a second or third late notice letter that we send out to them. The way that we assess the fine now is we issue them a ticket and they have to appear in court. And that is very cumbersome, not only for staff, but it's also cumbersome for the business owner as well, because it's a must appear. And so what we're recommending is, instead of doing that with this particular thing, is that we allow them to be added on as a late penalty as opposed to a ticket. So it's really more of a processing thing, where we don't have to go through the whole court process. So it's really cleaning up and streamlining the process. We don't have a lot of those, but we do have a few repeat offenders from time to time. The rest of the stuff is really housekeeping. Currently, we charge $30 for a change of business, where they have to come in, let's say they sell their business to someone else, and they have to come in and fill out a new business license. We're currently charging $30, but it's not set in the code, so we need to kind of codify those things, those processes. So that's really what this particular item is about.
Okay. There's any other questions? Call the roll.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello. Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Village Code Amendment, Special Event Permit.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Fenn.
move to pass ordinance number 5216 entitled an ordinance amending Title III, Chapter 9 of the Orland Park Village Code relating to special events permits.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Joe, I have the same questions on this one.
So basically, we did do surveys of other communities, but they're a little irrelevant because they were all over the place. So what we did was we looked at what we currently charge and the cost of the resources that it takes to put an event permit together. Thus, and then we adjusted those prices accordingly. So you'll see that some of the costs have decreased based on the time, and some have increased based on the time. But we're just basically trying to cover our cost of the resources that we use.
Okay. Any questions? Call the roll.
Trustee Fenn.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Sidewalk construction, Village Center Complex.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Carroll.
I move to approve accepting the proposal from Davis Concrete Construction of Monee, Illinois, for sidewalk construction at the Village Center Complex, an amount not to exceed $45,000, which represents $42,036.50 plus $2,963.50 contingency.
Second.
Any questions? Joe, I do have a question on this as well. So the sidewalk construction's at the Village Center.
Yes.
We also have two projects coming up. One is some parking lot work that we have done, and then we're also going to do a roundabout.
That's correct.
Are these sidewalks in any way impacted that, or are they completely separate?
They're completely separate. They're not impacted at all.
Any other questions? The question is put as read. Call the roll.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra.
Aye.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
An ordinance providing for the issuance of general obligation refunding bonds.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Ruzick.
could I get an ordinance number?
5217.
I move to pass an ordinance number 5217 entitled an ordinance providing for the issuance of $2,645,000 general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2017 of the Village of Orland Park, Cook and Will Counties, Illinois, for the purpose of refunding certain outstanding bonds of said village providing for the levy and collection of a direct annual tax for the payment of the principal of the interest on said bonds, authorizing the sale of said bonds to the purchaser thereof, and authorizing the execution of an escrow agreement in connection therewith.
Second.
Are there any questions?
Just, if we could have a simple explanation of that long, chewy ordinance we have to enable by state law.
Yeah, so occasionally the market presents an opportunity for us to go out and competitively sell refunding bonds, which refund current outstanding general obligation bonds of the village. So we were able to do that. We went out and refunded our 2009 outstanding bonds today through a competitive sale. We got very favorable results. We had 7 bidders that bid over 27 times, which means that it was very competitive. They kept coming back with another bid with a lower interest cost. In the end, our true interest cost is about 1.2%. It's a short-term bond. There was only 4 principal payments left, 4 annual principal payments left, hence the small amount. But it does add to our future interest savings. We'll realize about $113,000 net present value of future interest cost savings. We've done this periodically over the years. In the last, I'm going to say 7 to 8 years, we've refunded bonds, and we've saved interest of about $6.5 million by doing so.
Say, what was the number again?
About $6.5 million. Kevin McKenna from Spear Financial is here if you guys have any additional or detailed questions about the sale.
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Ruzick.
I just had a comment. So you, in your item, you had anticipated about $74,000 in savings. But so what did the sale? It was better
The
than
sale
we
was
expected.
better than we thought.
So
Yeah, we were actually able to reduce the principal amount that we thought we were going to be issuing because of the favorable results we got on the sale.
Okay.
And then the future interest savings, net present value of those future savings is about $113,000.
Okay. So that's great news.
Just one
Any
more
other
thing, too. As part of that process, we go out to the market and we have a bond rating done by both Moody's and Standard & Poor, and both of them reaffirmed our strong bond rating of AA+.
Any other comments?
Just a comment. So we have a great bond rating despite the fact that we live in the state of Illinois.
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
Yes, we do.
Anything else? The question is put as read. Call the roll.
Trustee Ruzick.
Aye.
Trustee Carroll.
Aye.
Trustee Fenton.
Aye.
Trustee Dodge.
Aye.
Trustee Guerra. Trustee Calandrello.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Discussion only, board meeting, voice and video streaming recording.
So this is a discussion item only, but it's something that's been brought up. I think it's been brought up at the Technology Committee as well. But what I would like to see is that we videotape these proceedings and then put them on the website. Several other places do that. And I thought this would be a good discussion item for the group.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Carroll.
I'll defer to Trustee Dodge if he wants to add any more. I know we did talk about it in the Technology Committee.
Sometime back, yep.
A few months back, and I know the discussion at that time was the committee's preference would be to start with audio recordings. I know there was some discussion with the village attorney, too, about the issue of putting recordings up, whether they be audio or video, before minutes were confirmed and approved at a subsequent board meeting. I thought our committee's recommendation, I think, Trustee Dodge, you can tell me if I'm wrong, was to start with the audio recordings, mainly because of the cost and having it be a new procedure and see how it plays out, and then defer the conversation about taking on video streaming, which would be a lot more costly after we have that trial period of the audio.
Mayor Pico, that's basically kind of what we talked about in committee. And I guess when this idea came up, I don't have a problem, although I think I've got a better face for radio than I do video broadcasts, right? So we want to be careful with this one. But I think I want to make sure that whatever we do, we kind of do this a little more holistically. So let me give you an example. My concern, if we did this anywhere remotely close to live, or you have a microphone here and then we don't govern that microphone properly, anybody who wants to come up and suck up a lot of free airtime, free media, then put it out there on YouTube, they're going to be using the village for that purpose. So I don't quite know how we govern that, but it's a concern of mine. The other thing I wouldn't mind saying is, for years, we have done minutes where staff will listen to the tape and transcribe it and offer up a reasonable summary of the discussion. If the technology is now there so that the entirety of the discussion can either be audio or video and tied to an individual item, for example, alpha, as an example, then, someone could go find that item and listen to the full breadth and range of the discussion. So if we do that, okay, I'd be interested. But I also wouldn't mind saying, well, why then are we having someone spend hours transcribing discussion as opposed to simply written minutes would then be, this is how the board voted on a resolution or an ordinance or a piece of business, and the minutes are just that. It's just the summary, the final action of the board. And if any citizen is so inclined to go get the full breadth and range of the discussion, here it is. It's online, it's enabled, it's tied to the second when item alpha was called and discussed. So let's get out of the business of yesteryear's technology of doing transcribed minutes, which is something we had to do 100 years ago, and do something different. So if we go in this direction, let's make it a little more of a comprehensive fix and save some time.
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Ruzick.
So we would still, my understanding is the official minutes of board action would still be required. Correct, Ken?
Yes, you still have to have official minutes, and they have to be in writing. Under the Open Meetings Act and
Okay.
the Municipal Code, the official minutes have to be in writing. Unfortunately, our legislation hasn't caught up with modern technology, but that's what's required right now.
Okay. So we wouldn't, somebody would still have to go and listen to each one of them to
Well, I guess
prescribe.
that would be my question, Trustee Rusich, which is if there's no specified formula for the minutes, if the minutes were Trustee Carroll moved, Trustee Rusich seconded, here was the vote, and it described the item, why wouldn't that be sufficient for written minutes?
It would still have to be written.
No, I'm not arguing that they have
okay.
to be written. I'm just saying that the minutes go from
Right.
what looks to be a summarization of a discussion to just the motion, just the vote, and then have it whatever you want online with video.
I'd leave that to the
Save a hell of a lot of time in the clerk's office.
I would think that would be sufficient. Ken, would it? Yes.
That'd be fine.
That would be fine.
Any other comments? So I would just wrap it up by saying that I've talked to several mayors about this, and they do it in different ways, but some of them record it and put it right on their website. Others record it and put it on YouTube and link to their website. And in all these cases, they say they post them the next day. There's also some that do it live. But so there are villages out there that already do this, so we don't have to recreate the wheel. We can talk to those villages, see how they do it, and mirror the ones that are both most cost-effective and also simplest to implement. I do think there's an advantage on the minutes, much less writing. We don't have to worry about verbatim minutes. We don't have to worry about he said, she said. We can put the video on the web. And I think the other thing that I've been told is that it really helps with FOIA, because you can point them directly to the video for the FOIA for those meetings. So.
Mr. Chairman, my only comment would be that I think the voice-only recording is a little backward technology.
I agree.
You're shaking. That was.
No, I'm trying to move out of the way so you could look right at Mike, Carol.
I agree with you, however, I think the discussion was more cost-effective because it's a lot less costly than video.
It's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We already have it.
Free is generally pretty good, Joe.
Yeah.
Well, except that you're not going to be clear who's saying what.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
I don't think the cameras, the technology, if we had it mounted up here, right, it's all that expensive anymore. Is that, Frank, did we ballpark this at all?
Yeah, we did.
I don't think it was that bad.
Let's see. Yeah, we did ballpark it. So the initial investment was around $15,000 just for the recording equipment, and that did not include the cameras or the ability to capture the movement of the cameras. So as your voice carries through the system, we have to have microphones in everybody's area, not only just there, but hanging from the ceilings. So we're looking at a cost upwards of $60,000 to $70,000 to implement.
But Frank, it seems that in order to record all of us doing what we do for all of future humanity, that's probably worth it. Don't you?
It's a board decision.
Yeah. All right, thank you,
Not
Frank.
a technology
Thank you.
decision.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Carroll.
Just a response to Trustee Ruzik's concern, and, you know, our board, or our ordinances also already require us to ask the chairman for the floor, and we typically do, and the chairman typically acknowledges by name. And the same thing, we just passed that ordinance about the conduct of the audience, requiring them to at least state their name, and if they don't want to give their address, they don't have to. But the way the ordinances read, both for our conduct as well as the conduct of our people in the audience, makes it pretty clear they're supposed to ask for the floor from the chair, acknowledge that, and then they can proceed. So I think an audio recording, if we go that route, not only would be the most cost efficient, but that concern would be met by the chair acknowledging the speaker.
You just really don't want to be on camera, do you?
Again, like Trustee Dodge said, face for radio.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Trustee Ruzick.
So if the goal is to engage our community more, which I think that's one of the goals, in addition to this concern about minimizing the time spent in transcribing minutes, I don't know who's going to want to sit and listen to 2.5 hours of a meeting. I mean, I think to view it would make a lot more sense. And at $700 a month, that would, you know, to pay somebody to come in and do it, that's not an extraordinary expense, but that's my thoughts on it. I know some other people haven't expressed their thoughts.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Fenton.
Just to go on, Trustee Ruzick, oh, shoot, just broke my pen. Comment you just made, you said that it would be, if it was 2 hours to listen to it, it's going to be 2 hours to view it also, because you're still listening to what the individuals are saying. You're not just looking at their, in some cases, no hair, plus hair, whatever.
Is that like discrimination? Did you guys just see this?
Well, you usually say that, so I just thought I'd throw that in there. So, I mean, the time frame, it doesn't matter if it's verbal or if it's visual, it's still the same. I mean, the advantage to the visual, you could still watch to see if people's faces change, and you could take the mute button off and go back to it. So, you know, the time frame is still going to be the same, whether it's visual or auditory.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Ruzick.
No, obviously, I understand the time would be the same, but I think it's a little bit, your likelihood of engaging somebody is if they have the visual in addition to the audit.
I think it might be worthwhile to reach out to some of the neighboring towns that do it and see how they do it, because they've said the expense is minimal, and I wouldn't think $60,000 or $70,000 they would view as minimal. So let's see how they do it, and you know, I'd be happy to make those calls as well, Joe, if I need to. You can call the village managers, I'll call the mayors, and we'll find out how they do it and come up with some alternatives, and then further the discussion later.
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee Callen-Jones.
This is Trustee Carroll, or Ruzick wanted me to voice my opinion. I would support an open process, transparent, whatever the committee decides is the most cost effective. I don't know if I have a face for television either, but I think just my parents would probably watch, that's about it, so just to see me. But
for now, you still have hair, though.
And I still, well, yes, slowly but surely going away. But whatever I would support the TV, I would support the radio, or whatever, but whatever the committee thinks. Well, auditory, but I would just support the open process.
And any other comments?
We're just talking about radio VOP. We think it's kind of catchy.
Yeah, I know the transistor radio.
Village manager's report?
Nothing, sir. We will look into this and we will report back in 2 weeks.
Anything else?
No, just thank you again for the support and the confidence in me. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And so nobody signed up to speak. Is there anybody here that would like to speak? Okay, with that, we'll move on to board comments. Trustee Fenton.
First of all, I'd like to take the opportunity to wish Director Carrie Freiling happy birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
29 young.
30, right?
Yes, 29 holding. I'd also like to thank the Park and Recreation Department for the beautiful concert series that they put on this year and everything that they've done during the summer. I know it's not just their staff, but everybody, from Public Works, administration, everyone that's involved in it, our police department, everybody does an excellent job offering these events to our residents, especially considering they're all free of charge. So I'd just like to thank you for all of that. I'd also like to just mention an article that was in the Tribune last week, and it's called Building Suburban Downtowns from the Ground Up. And this article was referring to Wheeling, and it's the latest community that's going in to develop a downtown. They're taking their old Wix Furniture headquarters and warehouse, and what they're doing is, says Chicago suburbs will build a 25,000 square foot plaza ringed by 5-story apartment building, a putting green, gazebo, barbecue grills, and a fire pit. Nearby, there'll be a bevy of stores, a 10-screen movie theater, and several restaurants. Already present at the site is a Metro commuter station, Village Hall, Park District Recreation Center, and an aquatic center. Some other comments that they made is it's a community hub that consolidates where people like to live and shop, dine, and mingle. It reflects a typical suburbanite involving wish list of how and where to live. Increasing people in the suburbs, particularly empty nesters and millennials, want housing that is a short stroll from a place to shop and eat. They want to lessen dependence on their car and more on the urban feel that downtown gives instead of moving downtown. The trend towards a downtown sprouting up in the suburbs, once defined by a bedroom communities, embodies the notion that to transit-orient development. In recent years, a host of suburbs have looked in transit-orient development approach. A long list includes Orland Park, Elmhurst, LaGrange, Geneva, Mount Prospect, Mundelein, Westmont, and Winthrop Harbor. The metro area needs more hub cities and suburbans to bring people out of their dwellings and into contact with others. It just goes to show that in this case, Orland Park has been on the forefront by developing our downtown area, and the town of Wheeling is, emulating what we've already done. And it goes back to the vision of the board, staff, and the residents who have supported what we're trying to do down there and what we plan to do down there, which is a great entity to the Village of Orland Park. And it's nice to be in the forefront of something instead of always reacting. We're being very proactive and developing something new to our community.
Trustee Calandrello.
Just a couple of things. First of all, congratulations, Joe. I know he has the support of the board, and I really look forward to working with you for the next 3+ years. So you definitely put in hard work. You're the hardest working man I know, and I know a couple of hardworking people. So congratulations on that. Just a couple of shout outs to the police department for their beautiful bike ride for Special Olympics. I know that Chief McCarthy and his staff put a lot of time in it, and it was a really good event. I think there's about 100 or so cyclists. Also, I know this is the last market in the park. I'm probably stealing Pat's thunder a little bit, but I think it was a great, new, creative event and location. I know my wife and I, every Thursday we go, so that's our date night with the kids. So appreciate that. And then 2 more things is, I think one of the greatest things that we did today, we had a lot on the agenda, is that we saved more money for the taxpayers by rebating more debt. I mean, $6.5 million in the last 7-8 years is a huge amount of money that we save the taxpayers. And then also we have a brand new ratings as of August the 3rd, so within the last month, showing that we have Moody's and Standard & Poor's AA+, AA1. I think that's huge of what we're doing here in the village, being good financial stewards of for the taxpayers. And again, for 7 cents out of the dollar, for less than $500 for my home, we get all this from the Village of Orland Park. So I don't want to give ourselves a pat on the back, but I want to give staff a pat on the back. I want to give everyone the foresight for being a very financially secure stewards, and that's the first thing I always tell residents. What I'm proudest of is how good we are with our money for 7 cents out of the dollar. And then the most important thing for my own personal thing, I want to wish my wife a happy anniversary. I hope this makes the minutes. It's our 2nd anniversary, so I hope that makes the minutes. So I'm at a village board meeting on our 2nd anniversary, so I'm sure I'm winning points on that one. So thank you.
We'll send her a copy.
Is there a copy? Okay.
See, if they were televised, she could.
Trustee Buzik.
Congratulations, Joe. You certainly had the longest interview of any of the candidates. You've been doing this job for 5 months now. Yes, so you've been interviewing for 5 months, so congratulations, and look forward to working with you.
Trustee Dodge.
Also, congrats, Joe. Glad I didn't pronounce your name the way I usually pronounce it, just for giggles. So all the best. I am. Yeah. It'll turn gray, Joe.
Trustee Carroll.
First of all, happy birthday to Carrie Freiling. I'd like to congratulate Joe Lamargo on the contract tonight. And now that we've gotten that complete, I want to officially thank you and Chief McCarthy for the service you provided as interim village managers did a great job. There was no lacking in productivity or service coming from that upstairs office during the time that you both served as interim village manager. You did a great job, and I'd like to thank you for that. I do want to also point out, since our closing remarks, which used to be kind of warm fuzzies, kind of took a turn last month, or last meeting, so I will say that in addition to our comments about the legal concerns we had with the commissions, I do want to share one other concern. We have shown that this board is willing to work with the village president on his appointments, and I think all the Economic Development Advisory Board appointments all went unanimously 7-0. But I do have some concerns about the advice and consent of some of these commissions. I heard on the one hand that trustees Gira and Fenton were told that they can't serve on their existing commissions because it's a conflict of interest, yet trustee Dodge was appointed to another commission. I heard that one of our commissioners, Dave Shalby, was told he can't serve on the planning commission because he's a realtor, yet Pat Zamparelli, another realtor, was proposed to be one of his replacements. So I would like to hear between now and our next meeting, if we're going to get a report back from legal in the next 2 weeks, why it was that of these 7 existing expired planning commission members, the 3 that were chosen to be to ask to resign were chosen, and those inconsistencies between the conflicts of interest that were alleged at the time they were asked to resign. Before I give my vote on advice and consent, nothing further.
Trustee Gira.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate Joe also. It was a very long job interviewing. You did a fine job, and Carrie, you're doing a fine job in there too. Also, the other appointments that were made tonight, congratulations. Look forward to working with all of you. I want to thank our park staff especially, but all village staff, for the wonderful summer we had in the village. All the programs are executed so beautifully, designed and executed and thought through completely. The concerts, the market, the park, the taste, all of it. Fabulous summer, and all of you contributed to it. Thank you. The other thing is the pool staff, of course. Have to mention they got their 3rd 5-star rating this summer for a perfect score. That's 10 consecutive years of 5-star ratings for inspections. These are unannounced inspections, and it's the lifeguards to the front gate staff. It's everybody that's evaluated in there, so I want to congratulate them and thank them. Somebody posted a picture of the pool staff over the weekend, and my only caption could be simply the best, and they are. So I'm really happy how good they make Orland Park look as the best pool in the southwest suburbs. Chicago region, I correct?
Absolutely.
So I just have a few comments, and I guess I'll tack on a little bit to what Trustee Carroll said as well. But the Illinois Municipal Code and the Village of Orland Park gives the village president the power to appoint citizens to serve on commissions within the village with the advice and consent of the board. When a term has expired, and this has been confirmed with 2 different legal firms, it is the village president's prerogative to replace the commission members. It is, in fact, also the board's prerogative to vote those replacements down. We didn't address the 4 replacements tonight, and we kicked the can down the road for 2 weeks from now. The facts are I was replacing 4 commission members in total out of 111 commission members. So hardly a large percentage. 1 more in 2 weeks, so a total of 5. Regarding the comments about Trustee Dodge sitting on a board, and I spoke to both of the trustees. In fact, I spoke to all 5 of these members personally in my office. I didn't send them letters and just say thank you. I brought them into my office and talked to them. I explained to both of the trustees that I felt it was a conflict of interest to be a judge, jury, and executioner, so be a voting member, kick it to your committee, and then kick it to the board. In Trustee Dodge's case, his position is actually called out for on the Economic Development Advisory Board, and he is a non-voting ex officio member, whereas the 2 trustees on the current boards are voting members. So if, in fact, through our commission changing process, we decide that we should have liaisons that are trustees, then those would be appointed, but I don't believe they should be voting members. To me, that's a potential for a conflict of interest, not saying that there has been, but the appearance and potential does exist. With regard to Commissioner Shalby, he was actually, because he focuses on commercial real estate primarily, what I instead suggested was for him to go to the Zoning Review Board. So I'm not sure if you got that piece of information or not. So it wasn't that he was just being asked to being replaced on the Planning Commission, but he was actually being offered a spot on the open spot on the Zoning Review Board. With that said, at some point, we need to recognize that the election is over. Several of my appointees today, or since I've been here, and including a couple of them today, and all of the current board, those that have been voting with me more frequently, those that haven't, all supported my opponent. I appointed those people today because they're good people, and we can work well together. It doesn't matter who they supported because the election's over, and they're qualified, as were the other people that I appointed that we did not talk to, or that I put up today that we did not vote on. To all of you who were added to the commissions today, thank you very much for volunteering. The staff and I and the board look forward to working with you. In order for the Village of Orland Park to succeed, we need to work together as a team even when we disagree. Mr. Lamargo, Joe, I want to congratulate you on your contract. I look forward to working with you to help Orland Park realize its full potential in the coming years. We agree on far more than what we disagree on. Together we will put aside or work out our differences to do what's in the best interest of the village. In fact, that teamwork has been on display already. Last Wednesday afternoon, I had an idea with Jennifer, my executive assistant, to take donations to support the people of Hurricane Harvey. Joe and I spoke Wednesday afternoon about 1 or 2 p.m., and his question was, how are we going to do all of this? And I told him, we're going to get the word out and start collecting, and we will figure out the rest. Sure enough, by noon Thursday, the Public Information Office, thank you very much, Margie, and to your team, had the word out, and we were collecting. Parks and Rec and the Village Hall began receiving items, and guess what? They figured it out. Public Works started picking these items up, they palletized them, and they inventoried the items. Again, we figured it out. Within 24 to 48 hours, we went from an idea kicked about in my office with Joe and Jennifer to implementation. And all of that, believe it or not, within the confines of municipal government. Who would have thought? There were not any questions of, did you clear this with the board? There weren't any comments about, we don't do things this way. And there weren't any comments about, we can't do this. Instead, everyone worked together to pull this off. This is what we can get done when we work together and all pull on the rope and in the same direction. I'm very proud of Orland Park and our staff throughout this entire effort. Please keep up the good work, and remember that we are accepting donations till September 15th, and maybe longer if another one unfortunately hits the U.S. and causes more issues. I will now accept a motion to move to executive session.
Mr. Chairman? I just want to also add to your comments about how many, up to date, you've appointed 13 new members to different commissions, just to throw that little number out there. Make a motion to go in executive session for A, approval of minutes, and B, purchase or lease of real property for the use of the village.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Should be a roll call? Okay, call the roll.
Trustee Fenn? Aye. Trustee Guerra? Trustee Dodge? Aye. Trustee Ruzick? Trustee Calandrella? Aye. Trustee Carroll? Aye. Mayor Pico?
Aye.